Okay, so yes, it is recorded now. So I'm going to lead today's discussion, and we're going to have some copywriting and messaging discussion. First, we'll go to the partner squad. We have this. What is it? Wait, sorry, my laptop is lagging right now. Oh yeah, so it's a Google search ad from partnership teams. I believe from Garrett. Yeah. Can you explain it a little bit more?
Yes, so the top one is the Google Ads. Is the headline for the latest Google Ads. So I incorporated something new in there. Uh, as you can see, I still use the formal one. If you see the middle one, it's still mentioned like don't get left behind and those sort of things, sort of headlines, so that people are more encouraged to do partnership with us. And oh, I don't know. The third ad is seems to be missing the third uh headline, but it's usually like the same as the others. Bukit Vista is here to help. Whose phone number is that? I'm pretty sure it's not Teens. It's the one that is in our website, sir.
Okay.
Okay, then. So I guess everyone can start and give some feedback. What do you think Garrett can improve from this Google search ad? And please give some opinion on your on the sticky note. We'll have like around 3 minutes, so maybe at 4:09 and no 4:11 we're going to start the discussion again. Okay, so it's already 4:11, and we're going to start the discussion. We'll start with some feedback that have been given. Yeah, I think. Okay, we start with the yellow sticky note. Who write this? I think you can use better capitalizations and this tag. line make no sense. Maybe
Mm.
the one who say, oh, ini Mr. Jing ya?
Yeah.
Yes.
Um,
Can you explain to us why it does not make sense on your side?
let's be more than guests. What does that mean?
Okay, so to answer that, uh, in previous meetings, I forgot which one. I've discussed. I think it's when I was talking about leads with with Kyla, and then we got this conclusion that our partners who actually become leads are actually the ones who are already like familiar with us. So I got the conclusion like, oh, so these people have stayed in our villas and they actually enjoy our property. So then like they want to become partners. So I try from that I try uh to encourage like past guests
Okay.
to become yeah.
All right. But did you write that idea correctly, Gareth?
Uh,
I think you can use like a host. Yeah,
It's
a
not
host.
it's not a symmetrical relationship, everyone. Okay? Friends are symmetrical. You're my friend, I'm your friend, right? But some relationships are not symmetrical. Like parent and child is not symmetrical, right? Teacher and student is not symmetrical. Host and guest is not a symmetrical relationship. So when you say let's be more than guests, does that mean I'm also a guest too, and you're a guest? Let's be more than guests, right? So you probably mean this: be more than a guest, right? Something like that, right? Go from guest to partner, right?
yes.
That is what I think you want to say. But let's be more than guests is very confusing. It's sort of like, what? What are you trying to say? Like you are a property management company, I am me. Well, let's be more than guests means what? Um, yeah, so I think you just need to write that in a way that conveys yes, I understand your idea. It's like going from a guest to become a partner, right? That I think is a good particular angle, okay? But
Okay,
you
okay.
also might need to ask this, right? Is this ad going to be targeting our past guests?
Uh, Not specifically, but I
Okay,
think there are some included. Yeah.
right. So that's no good because the majority of
Hmm.
people won't know what you're talking about.
Okay,
Right?
okay.
The majority of the audience has not actually stayed in our property, so they'll just be like completely confused, right? I don't know. Did I stay in your villa? Um, so you might change it this way, right? Have you stayed in a Bukit Vista property? Would you like to become a Bukit Vista partner? We manage your property for you. Okay? Something like that then narrows it down a little bit more specifically. Okay?
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Got it, sir.
Yep. Yeah, I think that would. Yes.
Oh, I was just
Uh,
saying, Bila saw the same thing, so I'm gonna give her a heads up. Yeah.
oh yeah, that's actually cover up the feedback from Kawi as well as mine because
Yeah. Yeah.
it's kind of confusing for us. So it means that it might be confusing for the majority of people as well, Garrett. So yeah, I think it's required to be improved. Yeah. Like from your side, okay, you have any friction in order to improve that?
Not really. I think it's just more using creative words, I think.
Okay then. So I guess that's all for the first ad, and then we move to the second one. The first one, yeah. First from Kak Gani first, yeah. Get your villa well managed. So to add one more adjective here, basically.
Okay, to address that one, I'm afraid I cannot do that, Kak, because it is maximum like 30 characters. But okay, I can take that into consideration for future use.
Okay, okay. So me, yes, sir.
But you need to get the grammar right too, as well. I think the
Oh,
capitalization might also be better. So your in that particular case doesn't need to be capital, and probably managed doesn't need to be capital, right? And I don't think most people have more than one. So it's probably get your villa managed, not your villas managed, right? I don't know. It's very, very rare that people have more than one. be good. And maybe you're targeting people who have more than one. That could be, if that was intentional, then good. But if it was, your grammar needs to be changed. I think that's that. Um, your don't get left behind right now doesn't really. It's kind of weird in this particular case because why would I get left behind, right? What indicates that I'm being left behind, right?
Mm,
So if you want to say that, if you want to say other properties, like let's say 60% of Bali properties are poorly managed, right? Don't get left behind, right? Bukit Vista can help you with your problems there. So you need to anchor this don't get left behind with some sort of fact in the very beginning. Okay, this is a fact. Don't get left behind. Bukit Vista can manage your property, right? Um, then that connects the idea. So it's like a 3-point story. Your first point doesn't establish the scenario. So when you say don't get left behind, I was like, why would I feel like I'm left behind? What's
okay,
going on?
okay,
Where's the party? Right.
okay.
So yeah.
Yep. Okay. So that was the feedback, yeah, Garrett, to give more fact, to give more context to the next word that you are giving for your CTA basically. So yep. And then the second feedback, I think it's coming from Mr. Jing and mine as well. I think it's the same. Do you use in other language for this advertisement, and whether the property manager and the property owner are usually using English?
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Jing. Thank you, Mr. Jing, for the input. I already updated. Just updated. I forgot. I updated the language to include German and French because I include those countries. And for those who are still wondering why I do not use Indonesian, because it did not perform previously. So even for Indonesian audience, I still use English. It has been proven before.
Okay, okay. So it means that how about the one that is in German? You said is it performing better than the Indonesian one?
Uh, I cannot say specifically because I've never used headlines in German, but the feature that I use right now is actually like auto translate from Google. So the headline is still the
Oh,
same wording, but like Google just translated it to German or to French. But I can make separate headlines in German or French maybe if yeah, if given enough time.
okay, noted then. Sir, do you have any more feedback regarding the language?
Just need to see the data on that, Gareth. I think you can just start throwing out a few ads out there and see if it might be tricky with different languages too, everyone, because different languages they might have different culture. Different culture might be different motivations to get a property managed. Some cultures they might just be like, "Ah, just don't want to. I don't want to work. Some cultures are just I'm just really lazy. I don't want to work. Give somebody else to do this, right? Some cultures might be more afraid about security, right? About is this safe to do, whatever, whatever. Some cultures might be more worried about legal, right? How do I make sure that this is legal? So when you take that into account, you might, at the same time that you think about language, you might also want to think about culture. Sometimes the same language has two different cultures, right? So this is very general and it's really stereotypical, but generally what I've noticed is okay. Let's say English, okay. Australian speakers tend to be more. I've noticed they tend to be a bit more lazy, right? They just want okay. Look, I just want somebody to like look after my property. All right, I don't want to worry about too much about what's going on with that. So they English, but a particular inclination versus like Singaporean, right? Singaporean might be, I want everything to be legal. I want everything to be legal, lah. Like so you might deal with two different like cultural inclinations within a particular language category, and you just that becomes kind of like another branch, right? Within let's say the same language, English in this case, you could have two cultures. If you want to go even deeper within each culture, you might find even more branches, right? So this is where your creativity goes kind of like infinite. Keep on branching, keep on branching. Try to figure out where your segment is. I would give most of these ads a pretty low score right now, Gareth. I would give them probably a C because the message isn't clear, the grammar isn't very clear, and also it's I don't know how effective it is actually. I might be able to give you a better score if I could see the effectiveness, but to me, as just any normal person, I don't actually understand the story, right? Other villas are fully booked. Other is not the really good word there. You could say Canggu villas are fully booked, right? Or Ubud villas are fully booked, or whatever. So you can be very location specific. Other just sounds like, okay, yeah, I'm sure there's other villas somewhere in the world that are fully booked. I don't care. But if you say that it's in my neighborhood, it's in my area, hey, other students just got accepted into their dream schools today. Did you? Right? Versus students in your neighborhood got accepted to their dream school today. Did you? It's different. You feel it? It's like one's definitely more personal. So you want to be more personal. You want to be more targeted in the other. And because on Google Ads you have so little characters, you only have 40 characters, you really need to make each word count, right? Because if it doesn't, then it's kind of a wasted ad. All right. Yeah, that's that.
Yep. Okay. So I think from this discussion regarding this Google Ads, I think there's two main points that need to be written. First, about like the word structure, the word choice, to make it more interesting, yeah, Garrett, and to make it more contextual in a way, so that the property owner or the audience here would understand more about what's your intent, and as well as the language itself. Like yeah, just like what Mr. Jimmy said before, different language, different culture might have different way to approach. So you think I think that you need to consider that. There is also additional feedback from Kagani, yeah, to they need simplicity here, no more words. Can you explain more, Kak? What do you mean by no more words here?
Yeah, Garrett, remember Villa Laperla, our latest brand new villa. Like the owner, couple of times say that he's busy, he want to be simple, he doesn't have time, so use that. I think that's a powerful word. So what is the owner pain point? Use it as a headline. And you can ask Kayla or ask Nadim. They are close with on the right. So ask them, hey, what is the pain point that stuff like that. So,
On top of that, let me also label what Gani just said there. I think Gani, if I'm not mistaken, we need to understand what the key motivational triggers are for people to choose our services. So just before you mentioned this idea of simplicity. So it can be like, is managing a villa complicating your life, right? Is it interrupting your lifestyle? Get Bukit Vista and get simple again, right? Is managing do you feel like you're being left behind on Airbnb, right? That's a great one. So somebody who's maybe trying Airbnb and not actually doing too well. And then you can say, hey, look, we are Airbnb experts. We will put you in, blah, 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 blah. So understanding what those motivational triggers are, just like, let's say, for example, if you want to, I don't know, wait, I think just before we were talking about War Cup, right? So War Cup NYC. You have this warung, Indonesian warung in the middle of New York. Now, when you walk through New York, you don't expect very much to actually see Indonesian food. Right? It's kind of like in a new country or whatever. But what's going to motivate somebody to go there? Okay. So think about New York. Think about maybe there's 6,000 Indonesian people there. Okay. You could say something like this, right? Rindu rumah. Ya, kami ada masakan Indonesia di 10 menit dari tempat tinggal, right? So then that comes across as actually catching that motivational trigger, right? But you need to know what somebody's feeling. Otherwise, your ad copy, your copywriting, it will never resonate. It will never like trigger somebody to try something different. But anyway, yeah, let's yeah, these are pretty basics. So Gareth, I think that's what you can do. Right now we're not really at that level yet. We're still trying to get your grammar, but get your grammar right and upgrade it so that you're really thinking about the triggers. And I would explore FOMO a little bit more creatively, maybe a few different ways you can feel FOMO, right? Some people feel FOMO because they're getting old. They're like watching all these young kids like get ahead of them. So it could be like, hey, do the kids know something you don't know, right? You can just put it that way, right? Do you want like younger people to manage and get yourself into social media or whatever? Go with Bukit Vista, right? That's what we do well. So all those are kind of ways to explore the same idea of FOMO, but being able to get it out in an ad that's really succinct. Okay.
Yep. Okay. Thank you so much, sir, for that feedback. And then the next one, this is for the display ads headlines. Basically, I think it's more or less the inspection is kind of been done with the previous ads as well, because we've already give some feedback towards the word choice, so on and so forth. So, do you think you can apply those to this display ad headlines as well?
Okay, yes, you're correct. Most of the problems are already addressed before, but however, this one is a little bit weird. So most of my like problems in creating headlines is just about the space that I can use, because like especially for Google Display headlines, ads is very restricted, because if you look at the search ads, I could put like three different headlines, and then like they all like appear at the same time. But however, if this one, I can put as many of headlines as possible, but they will only show one and rotate it. So yes, I have like difficulties in mushing every idea in just 30. Yeah, go on, sir.
You gotta be like with it, right? Like okay, like this one. Other villas are fully booked. Once again, it's vague. It's not whatever. You could say this villa is fully booked. Is yours? Question mark. Right? And that triggers then. Okay. That
Okay.
triggers the correct person to click on it and ask, right? Or um, this you just kind of have to hit that emotional trigger with as few things as possible there. So you have to be kind of a poet in this case, Gareth. You kind of need to think about how this is done. Look, everyone, the way I would go about this, Gareth, is in order to know, you got to sample, right? How do other display ads work? Go onto a page where there's shitloads of display ads selling, I don't know, like sunglasses or whatever junk people need on a day-to-day basis, right? And see how they
Okay.
actually write their copy. And then I think from that you can learn how to be compact and efficient. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, did you guys ever see this one? This one was great. This is created by um, Gunny. Did you see that masterclass that we have of those two advertising experts? Um, do you remember what they were?
Oh,
Jeff
oh,
Goodby and Rich Silverstein, right? Here, this is their thing. Do you guys know these two guys? Jeff
is
Goodby.
it milk about milk or milk?
Yeah, you remember, yeah. The milk thing, yeah. They had just two
Oh,
words, everyone. People apparently were not drinking enough milk in the US, so they created an entire campaign called Got Milk, right? And it was always about these moments when people needed milk in their life and they didn't have milk. And then they created all these milk mustaches with famous people wearing the milk mustache. And that was two words. You got milk? And it stuck. And it's very powerful. It worked really well. So Gareth, you need to go find your got milk moment. You need to go find like, do you got management? Do you beautiful property, no management? Question mark. That's it, right? That's essentially what you're looking. Bingo! I just gave you the answer, right? Beautiful property, dot dot dot. No management? Question mark. Click it, right? Because that's what we're looking for. We're looking for a person who has everything except the management, right? So there's your got milk.
Okay, then. So, Garrett, does that answer
God, I
your
should have gone
question?
into advertising. I feel like, oh
Yes,
wow,
yes, very much,
that would
very
have
much.
been okay. That would have been my
Okay,
calling.
then.
Went to engineering instead. Ah, that's bad. Okay.
Okay, then. You can still do advertising here, so yeah,
I guess this
that's
one's
fine,
right here,
sir.
right?
Yep. You still are mentor anyway. So yeah, let's move on to the next funnel. The next quad we have from our guest quad. First, it's Airbnb infographic. The question is, which one is the most compelling hero photo? Oh, okay. May I know who's give this question?
Me,
Oh
I'm
yeah,
right.
yeah, okay, okay.
Yeah. Okay. So the background story is when I met a Joy from Airbnb, she said that the two factors that trigger audience to take a look or click booking to your listing. First is hero photo, the second one is the title. Okay, so these two things that we are have control. Okay, and Joy said that okay, most of the listing is just photo, right? Just full photo, just what's called it's just bedroom photo, but try to try to what's called put label or icon or stuff like that to make it's more interesting to more yeah stuff like that. So perhaps we can be more creative. Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, I think some of us give the opinion here. They say that the competitors are better. Maybe to Garrett first. Why do you think that the competitors are better here?
because it's like more concise. Like, okay, so my perspective as a visitor, let's just say I saw this, like, and then like I saw the competitor. Okay, yeah, I will not expect myself to like saw the competitors like full like explanation in the single image because like the text is too small. But however, it make me more curious than they just giving me large image of like a map and then like pin right there. It's more concise, I think.
Gunny, didn't we host at Sorry Garden before?
Yeah, yeah.
So they stole our
I
idea,
think
didn't they?
I think they end up the contract last year and then they start build their own brand. So if
Oh, they took our idea totally, but they improved it. I would say that is an improvement. Okay. Well, that's good. Sometimes you have to learn from other people. Now we need to come up with something even better.
yeah,
Yeah. No, this is great. I think Sharon should see this. Yeah. I think this is next level. They took the idea and then they made it even more desirable. Oh, they photoshopped it, I think. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
They created a composite image that told the story.
Yeah. So I hope I don't know Kak Wei can learn from this. So you have to control your photo and the title. So how to make this content is beautifully trigger the guest. So what icon, what text should involved in this? Yeah, you know what I mean. So not just simply photo, but let's be more creative. Also. What do you think, Kak Wei?
Okay. What do you think, Awe? Do you think you can try or improve our current infographic from that?
Yeah, sure we can. Actually, though, in my opinion, my personal opinion, I like it better with clean photo without anything. But yeah, but for the guest opinion, I think it's more like it gives you more information. Like you don't really have to click on the listing and you get all the important information there.
That's
So yeah,
interesting. That's interesting. Mm.
Yeah. So it means that from the creator side, you think that it's better that way, but from the guest side, it might be the competitor might be better. So does it mean that maybe the creator would need like a second opinion from someone else, maybe, so that we would know like the different opinion in that case? Yes, sir.
I think before we talk about better, we should talk about what is purpose. Okay, so what is the purpose of that main photo? Really, the purpose of it is to get you to open the listing. That's it, right? Will you open the listing after having seen that photo? So, whatever the main photo did, if you go into the listing, it succeeded. Okay, if you didn't, then it failed. So, I think it's a little bit like this. whatever happens, you should have a photo that looks fairly unique, right? That looks fairly surprising, that looks fairly interesting. Because if you don't, then you'll just look like all the other same photos, right? You know, the 3 and a quarter shot of the villa from the pool looking upward. So if everything looks like that after a while, you're like, yeah, what's the difference, right? So it's a little bit like wine labels or book covers. These are there to simply sort of hide the truth. And the truth is, most of these things are about the same, right? A bottle of wine is similar to another bottle of wine. A book is similar to another book. To most people who are uninitiated. Okay, so it's how do we present it in merchandise in a way that kind of is distinct, but also Gani way. I think it also needs to be aligned to our brand. Okay, so if it's not aligned to the brand and it's just looking kind of crazy just to look crazy, then that's different. So Garrett, this is a good one. This is a good discussion topic because yes, I would say the competitors seems to have. Actually, I don't even know. Now that I think about it, I don't even know. The competitor definitely has uniqueness, all right? But can anybody really read all those little icons there? All right. It's hard to read even on a desktop screen. It's even harder to read on a mobile screen. Okay. But will they click on it to actually find out more? Perhaps they might. All right. Okay. What about ours? Will somebody click on ours to find out more? I think maybe too, right? It has a pretty, it's a much more dramatic photo and it's much more clear what you're trying to express. It's much more intense. That thing that they have there is what you're going to experience anyway on page 2 of Airbnb, right? When you open the listing, you'll see all the icons drop out anyways, right? So I don't know. It's kind of interesting. At a certain point, everyone, what's more important? Is it your conversions or is it your brand, right? And generally, since we're here talking about brand, it tends to be the brand. So let's say even like Nike, right? Let's say they have a inefficient design in their store that is good for their brand, but it limits the amount of traffic that can go through their store. They would probably still choose the brand and just deal with, let's say, the traffic issues. They'll have a line outside the store, but they'll just say, that's okay, right? Our brand is good enough. People want to line up for it. So you might be able to actually inconvenience your user, have them follow your brand rather than the other way around. All right. But yeah, this is good because it's kind of hard to see who's the winner here. But it's pretty clear to me that they copied our idea, which means that we're leading in this particular category, Ghanaian way. Yeah. If they're going to copy what we've done, that means that we're probably discovered something useful. Okay. Um, but challenge yourself. What would be even more? What would be the next level? What would be, kind of like the thing that says, this is the way it should be done in the future. This is the way it should be done in 2025. Yeah. Yeah, we're leading in providing rich information. Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. Wait, my laptop is lagging. Oh yeah, now so it works now. Okay, so basically the conclusion would be maybe we can improve it. Doesn't necessarily mean we have to go the same as the competitor, I guess, but make sure to stay on the brand. Like that. KW, can you implement it later then with this? Okay then. Nice. So we can move on to the next discussion. There's this infographic here from Airbnb. There are some, I believe this is coming from the different property. Yeah.
Oh no, this is a great discussion. Gani, what did this is hilarious, right? We had this immense battle over the last 2 days, Gani, right? Over what should be the title up here of this particular listing. What was the title before, Gani? Do you remember?
Bukit Vista slash. Wait, let me remember and write it down.
It was like
Bukit Vista,
Bluewood, authentic house.
Serin, Bamboo, Cabin. Bumbu, wood, uh, Serin, Bamboo, blah blah blah. Bamboo Cabin or Bamboo Villa.
Jungle, house jungle, right?
I think, Reza, can you remember it? Ubud one? yang pernah ganti Reza
Yeah,
Sunrise House. Nah,
yeah.
what is the title? This one? Open Street Authentic.
I think
Do you remember?
I like forget when.
Don't forget, because somebody was really upset about that, actually, Reza. Let's see if we. I got it. Ubud Authentic Bamboo House Jungle. Authentic. Here was the original title. Here, Ubud. Here it was. Here, I got it. I have it in my search history. So this is a very, very good example, and I got yelled at for this. Actually, I got really pointed out on this one. It was called Ubud Authentic Bamboo House Jungle. Yep, that was it. Okay. Gani, first of all, why did we change the title? I'm kind of curious why we changed the title.
Okay, the first reason I have explained to Miss Claire as well. So basically, every when we're doing SEO optimization, we're trying to make the listing is keep updated, whether it's the title,
Sure.
modify the
Okay.
title,
Yeah, I can understand.
update the description, yeah, update the description, change the relevant photo, check the
Yeah, yeah, I
amenities. So
understand.
yeah, that's the main reason we want to
Okay.
edit the title. But the word choosing is back to the content person again.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Right. Who did this, by the way? Was it you or was it Reza?
Me.
Okay. All right, Reza. Not good. And Gani, we should have caught it. Okay. The reason why it's not good is because it doesn't make any sense. Right? An authentic bamboo house jungle doesn't make any sense. It's you could say it's a jungle house, but a house jungle is just no good. Okay, I know in Bahasa Indonesia that's probably rumah hutan, yeah, but in English it's the reverse, right? It's a jungle house. So when Claire caught it, she was like, "Do you quality control these titles?" And I was like, "What? What do you mean?" I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about." So I predicted it was the same thing that what Gani said. It was probably some SEO thing. But this is where, once again, the brand is more important than the functionality. I appreciate that perhaps it could have gotten some good SEO from using those words. But when we use our keywords together, Gareth, right, in a way that's jumbled, that doesn't make any sense, we lose narrative. We lose the story. We lose what exactly do you mean? Right? We confuse our audience. And when you confuse your audience, your brand diminishes. It just means kind of like what people see is just means it's sloppy. Okay, so in this particular case, simple solution, Reza, I appreciate the effort. Use Grammarly. Okay, make sure that when you put a title, especially a title, because a title is seen by everyone. You use at least it's grammatically correct. Second is Wei, you probably feel this too. Authentic is a really, really overused word. It's a very tired, very it almost means the opposite now when you say authentic. If you have to say it's authentic, it probably isn't, right? So you need to choose a better word, a more interesting word, okay? Gani, we have a library of all the words that people can put together to combine to create that. Reza, that's where I think you can actually use that, okay? Look, I understand Claire's perspective. She's narrative first. She cares a lot about how brand. She cares about how this is seen. I know you guys are probably thinking, well, is the title really that important? But for the sake of today, it is, right, Gareth? Because the title might be the only amount of copywriting you do in certain cases, like an ad. Okay, so if you don't get your title right, then you're 50% kind of lost anyway. Okay, but Gani, I think this was a really, really good case of what do we value more? Do we value the narrative, the brand, or do we value the technical performance, right? Choose the brand. The brand will always matter more. Okay?
Yep. Okay.
thank you very much.
Okay, so that was a note for everyone, yeah, to make sure that we stay on the brand instead of, yeah, the one. Even if we need the other benefit, make sure that it is still on the brand. Okay, so I think we can move on to the last one. Oh, wait, since we only have like 15 minutes left, uh, can I ask to the guest funnel whether the last one would be very urgent? Otherwise, we can divide the time and then we move to the other squad as well.
On the employee squad, what I notice is it seems like it's not really changing very much, right?
Yep.
We keep on dropping these big things inside the WhatsApp groups or the line groups. We know that doesn't really work that well. I don't know why we still do it, but maybe on the email blast, that looks about right. The email blast looks better, you know. So that one I think is okay. Up to you guys. You guys want to talk the next 15 minutes about email blast or about Airbnb default description? How many people? It's only you, Bila, right? For the employee
Yeah.
side. Okay. I'll give you feedback alone on your email blast, right? But
Yep.
let's,
Yep.
for the benefit of everybody else, let's stick in the guest side because I think most of the work is on the guest side, yeah?
Okay then. Let's move to the second discussion. It is about Airbnb default description. Can someone give more context towards this? What we are seeing here?
This is actually from me. So couple days ago, and at Sunday, I just launched a brand new Villa Tupa. So these are the description of it. Since Mas Gani asked me to bring new content executed last week, so I bring this.
Yep. Okay. So let's have 2 minutes for each of us to give some feedback. We'll back at what time? At 5. Yeah. Okay. So let's give some feedback, guys.
Okay, I bring this topic because as I know I'm something called the reservation. So perhaps this is the current template we use for the Airbnb. Okay, but since you are dealing with a lot of inquiries, so perhaps there is a changes or what things we need to put on up more or change the style of copywriting, make it shorter perhaps. So we
Yep.
need feedback from our person basically. Yeah.
This is really good.
Okay, it's already 4:50, so let's have the discussion. So there are some feedback. Yeah, let's go to Mr. Jing first. I think you give a lot of feedback here. Would you explain that?
Uh, Actually, this is pretty well done way because it is very practical. Actually, it's very practical. You put the Wi-Fi speed up there at the top, Netflix, the bedrooms with AC. We get tons of questions about that all the time about these features. And so by putting it up in the front, it just reduces all the unnecessary dialogue you need to have, right? Um, there's there's some stylistic things, but it really depends, I think, on your own personal preference. Okay, the rooftop is your unique selling point. Not a lot of properties have a rooftop area. I would move that up as high as you can go because remember, people click on unique things. People read things that are unique. So you want to get like all your most unique stuff up at the top so that people will read further down. That's generally my feeling about it. Okay. If you're going to tell a story, tell me something interesting first. Otherwise, I'm not going to listen to you. I just listen to something else. So I think the rooftop, it could be, sort of put up at the very top. Okay. Um, your content is very, very empathetic. I think you're thinking about how somebody will transport themselves. You're thinking about their food situation. You say that there's no breakfast, which is great because don't need to explain that 50 million times to people. So it's really good. It seems like all the content requests we're sending over, you're reading and you're actually understanding and you're putting it out into the new content now. So that's good. My two negative comments are this. Uh, I think it might be there already, but you might want to condense all your ideas into a work from home friendly environment, right? And you can put that right up the top. So you have the Wi-Fi, you have the chair, you have the whole thing. What does that all mean? It's work from home friendly. So you put that up the top, and then people know, okay, this is for me, right? Um, and some other things. There's a small little grammar thing. You wrote tropical interior twice. You said this villa warm meal welcome outstanding design tropical interior. Great. Tropical interior. So you can just start. It has Balinese accessory. You don't need to repeat tropical interior. That's kind of weird. Otherwise, no. I think it's like I think 90% of the way there. It's actually a very good piece of content. So good.
Yep. Okay. Thank you, sir. So that was all the feedback from Mr. Jin. I'd say that from myself, it's quite the same with Mr. Jin. I think this copywriting give like a friendly and hospitality vibe to the people. So I think I really like reading this. Like even though like it is a long story, but I think that it's very hospitable to read it, and I'm actually attracted to keep on reading it until the
Yeah.
very end. So yeah, I think
No.
it's a very good way to write it. Yeah.
Bila,
Um,
if I could put that in, it's actually really good that you do subheadings, right? So that people can find their way to the part that they want to read about right away. So if you explain everything linearly, like blah 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 blah, blah, people are just hunting through, like, I just want to know about the check-in time, right? But you break it into subheadings, so it makes it very easy to quickly access what information you're looking for. So that's really good. That's very thoughtful.
yep. Okay. So that was the feedback from Mr. Jing as well as mine. Maybe next one would be from Kak Dani. Can you deliver your feedback?
Okay, so I just received some feedback from representation team that I think the order of information needs to be updated each time. So recently we received more, there is a lot of people ask for visit, asking about the payment. So I think the more important question should be put it on the top rather than like question like scooter rent stuff like I don't know check out stuff. So this is
Gani,
conditional, but okay.
I have a elaboration on that. Okay, so hear me
Okay.
out on this one. I've begun to believe that the people who ask for, can I pay outside of Airbnb? Where's the location? These are spammers. They're not going to read anyway. They're not our guests anyways, right? They're going to spam as many hosts as they can with those questions because most people are going to tell them to fuck off, right? So they're hoping that like some people will say yes, you can send me, this is my way out and whatever, and then do a deal. So in a way, I've begun to understand after looking at this more carefully from reservation, those are actually not our guests. Those will never be our guests. Those are just people kind of like looking to beat the system. So in a way, we don't need to write our copy for them, right? What I'm doing instead now is I just report those people to Airbnb. This person's spamming me. This person's spamming me. This person's spamming me, and Airbnb just removes them after a few days, right? Because they all start with 0 reviews and nothing, right? No reviews, no anything. So we don't necessarily need to write content for people who are not really going to be our customers. We just need to write content for the right person who is ready to transact. So I think in that sense it can be okay. Um, yeah, that's a new insight that I've discovered on that, right? You're not going to get the spammer to stop spamming because he won't read anyway. They'll just go and click, 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 message, 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 click, 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 copy, paste, right? So what are you gonna do?
Okay, got it. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Okay. So from
Uh,
yep. Do you have
yeah.
anything to say that to answer
No,
that?
no,
Oh, okay.
no. Yeah.
So you'd be
But
agree with Mr. Jim?
yeah. So, but I wanna curious perhaps any insight from Reza that you are actively doing daily content after. Reza, what was your insight in the last week?
Uh, from me, I think if we provide the if we don't provide any breakfast, uh, maybe guests need some solution if the property don't provide breakfast, like uh, yeah, if we don't provide breakfast, then apa ya, kayak kayak kalau tamu itu kalau nggak diberi apa ya, mereka diberitahu kalau kita nggak provide breakfast. So
Okay.
what the solution for me? And then I think we can have some information. The property is near the restaurant, or you can order it via GrabFood or anything. Because I think guests need solution, not only the information that we don't provide breakfast.
Okay, okay, sounds good, sounds good. Yeah, I think that would be a good solution, result both for guests and also from us. So I think this is new insight, Kak good insight from Reza instead of sorry, we want to inform you that we don't provide breakfast, what we do here the nearest restaurant. Okay, hey, this location is reachable for GoFood or Shopee Food. Okay, good insight, Reza. Anything else?
It is a very good insight. That's very hospitable, Reza. That's terrific. I think that's very smart.
Yep. Okay. So that one thing to be improved again, yeah, Kak, other than all of the other feedback, to give solution basically to be more hospitable to the people as well. Okay. So I think that would be all of the feedback, and I'd say that it would close today's discussion on branding as well. It's actually we are on time. Yeah.
Oh, one thing.
Oh
I know we
yes.
have a minute, and Wei, thank you for sharing today. So tell us about the new Airbnb website. So what do we see? Oh,
Kak Wei?
I
Oh
give the
yeah, sorry.
opportunity to Wei to talk more about the new Airbnb website.
Oh yeah. So the new Airbnb website, as you can see, there are like divided by categories. So uh, it should be make guests easier to choose, like because if we want to stay to a place, we like apa focus on what we're going to do, right? So the categories is our to do list actually. So
There you
yeah,
go.
but I haven't really learned about that more as how what can we do.
It's uh, do you guys want to stay for a few minutes? I'll tell you what they're doing. It's actually pretty interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll start.